Hello students, myself Sharddha Bhatt, English faculty in BBC Institute. Today I am going to start with the first one lesson of 12th standard. That's the last lesson. Quite amazing, quite surprising, last lesson. First one lesson is considered as a last lesson. There's a big question mark regarding that. Why? Why that was done? The chapter given by Alfonso Daudet. In that chapter, we go through with M. Hamel, who is a French language teacher in France district. Another one, we talked about French, a small boy who studied in the school of that district. Question arises, why? Why it was the last lesson of M. Hamel in that district? Who insisted him to leave the school? Reason behind leaving his school. Reason is, as far as I think, not far to seek of. It's a story around 1870 when France and German were in a state of war, as it was a war time. So, two districts of France, that's Alsace and Lorraine, passed into Germans' hands. So, as they become a part of German, it was sure that they didn't allow the teaching of French language in those districts. The teachers of French language were told to leave the school, as that day it was the last French language given by M. Hamel to his students. He was very sad, he was quite emotional, he was worried about French language, as he was teaching in that school for last 40 years. 40 years, quite a big time to give your services in a particular place. But still he was thinking about what he will do so that the future of French language would be safe. For that, he made the people aware about their faults, about his own faults, about what they should do so that this language to be continued further. For that, he did a lots of efforts. His efforts were shown in this one chapter. Another boy, that's French, who is a student of M. Hamel, didn't want to go to school that day. Reason behind not going to school was quite a similar one as in our life also. When we will not be prepared with something, we always think of not going to school. When we were late, we too think the same, not to go. He too, that small boy, also decided not to go to school. He saw the weather. It was a warm, bright day. Warm, bright day was there. Birds were chirping. That tempted him. That tempted him this much, so he decided to not go. But to leave, to go for bunking, needs something else, needs something very big, and that's big as courage. As all of us have no courage, few people have that courage, they go for bunking, they go for anything. But that small boy was not able to arrange that courage. Scarcity of courage bring him to school. So he decided to move towards the school. He reached there on the gate of the school. He was amazed. Reason behind that amazement was there was quite silence outside the gate of the school. Usually there was quite bustle, usually there was quite noise, but that day it seemed to be like a Sunday morning. As on Sunday there was quite hustle and bustle at our home, and there's silence in the school. So amazement bring him to inside. He moved there. He reached to the classroom. There he found that M. Hamel. He saw M. Hamel in a different clothing. Different clothing. Hashtag. Means he was in those clothing which he usually carried on inspection days. And prize days. He was in green coat. He was in black silk cap. He was in frilled shirt. That amazed him. Amazement was moving further when he saw the back benches of the classroom that were usually empty. But that day it was occupied by villagers. That was occupied by old houser. That was occupied by former mayor and former postmaster. A small boy surprisingly, amazingly entered in the classroom. M. Hamel simply told him that he was going to start without him. He just took his sit there. M. Hamel started addressing his last lesson. He talked about universality of human nature. In common, if I will talk about universality of human nature, all of us have few things that's in common. That's eating, sleeping and all. Leaving all these, one thing else is there that's common in all of us, and that is putting off learning. Putting off learning till next day. We are very much perfect in this. Whenever we have to learn something, we put that in our next day. We will do this tomorrow. We will do it later on. These are our favorite words. All of us have. So he talked about these universality of human nature. Then he told the people of the town, he told to the students that three people were blamed. Three people who would be blamed for all this, for not giving proper attention to the language. And those were, at first he blamed the children as they didn't pay proper attention to their studies. Then he blamed the parents of the children, as they wanted them to work on mills and earn. And at last, he blamed himself. To blame oneself is a difficult task, but he did so. He did it very nicely. He said he too is there in fault, as he gave them holidays whenever he would like to go for fishing, whenever he would like to go for other works, whenever he told them to put waters on his flowers. So in this way, he blamed three people for neglecting the French language. He moved further, he became emotional, he became in a sad tone, but still he kept his lesson to be continued.